Back in 2017, a couple in the UK got dragged into court for letting their naughty sides get the better of them while waiting for a pizza in a local Domino's franchise. Let's just say that the crust wasn't the only thing getting stuffed that night. They performed sex acts against the counter, much to the horror of the staff trying to get on with their evening deliveries. This act of forbidden deep dish lovin' almost got these certified meat lovers 12 months in jail. And this is actually one of the most normal entries you'll find in this episode of the Infographics Show. The weirdest places people were caught having sex. Number 14. God is always watching. Domino's isn't the only sacred Italian joint where things get saucy. A young couple in Cesena, Italy decided to forego the Hail Marys when they started bumping uglies in the confessional of a local church. Communion wine, folks, not even once. This would probably be enough on its own to get you in God's bad books, but the couple decided to be particularly daring and engage in their confessional booth bonking during service hours, specifically getting some morning ass during morning mass. The congregation noticed moaning and grunting coming from the confessional, and fearing a possession, called the police. The couple were let off with a caution for disturbing a religious function. Speaking of things that are disturbing, when you think of essential equipment for the average judge, you might think about gavels and robes, but not penis pumps. Number 13. The long arm of the law. Donald Thompson was not your average district judge. This Oklahoma public official was sentenced to 4 years in jail for stimulating himself with a sexual device under his robe during 4 different trials. While the defense lawyers were only trying to get their clients off, Judge Thompson was getting himself off. Turns out the only briefs this judge cared about were his own. He was also said to have exposed himself 15 times across different trials from 2001 to 2003. Even during murder trials, Judge Thompson was witnessed pumping away with his favorite masturbatory gadget, leaving his judicial robes as stained as his reputation. And that's a matter of public record. But the horny habits of Judge Thompson are just the tip of the iceberg. Number 12. Police in hot pursuit. Let's stick with the justice system for our next bizarro sexcapade. In the Netherlands, one amorous couple got loaded and just couldn't wait the whole journey home to enter the bone zone. They decided that the hood of a parked car was the perfect place to get it on, only to realize a little too late that the car that they picked was a police cruiser. And the 2 on-duty cops sitting in the car were baffled at the surprise peep show that they were getting. Luckily for the couple, these were European cops, so they didn't end up full of more lead than Bonnie and Clyde. The Dutch cops instead politely told them to leave and continue their canoodling somewhere else, since preventing police from being available on duty is technically a crime. All in all, a pretty chill way for everything to pan out. And no, we don't know if there were handcuffs involved. Speaking of high-stakes romance, Florida man takes it to a whole new level. Number 11. Florida man rises to the occasion. In Punta Gorda, Florida, Justin Dunn and Nicole Albert decided to try the quarter-mile high club, right at the top of a downtown construction crane. They didn't get far before the local cops had to literally shout them down with a megaphone, ordering them to pull out and climb down. Talk about a mood killer. They were facing some serious charges because unlawful entry into a construction site can be prosecuted as a felony, but they avoided the worst of it due to another strange twist in the story. The site and the crane belonged to Dunn's father, who decided to keep it in the family and not press charges. Maybe he can use that as a new ad. Dunn's Cranes. The cranes are so nice your love life will be scaling new heights. Okay, let's move on. This next lawyer took client relations literally. Number 10. Attorney-client privilege. For reasons we can't quite explain, a bizarre number of these scandalous cases seem to involve lawyers. Take 43-year-old attorney Teresa Olson, who in 2002 decided to mix business with pleasure during a jailhouse tryst with her client, triple murder suspect Sebastian Burns. The two were in a compromising position inside a conference room of the King County Jail, with Olson's dress hitched up and Burns' pants on the ground. She got a 2-year suspension from practicing law and some very uncomfortable conversations with her husband for one passionate hour in the conference room. We hope those billable hours were worth it, Teresa. Everyone loves the great outdoors, but this next guy took getting into nature too far. Number 9. Table for one. It's clear that for the people involved and the innocent bystanders, weird public sex is no picnic. especially if you're Ohio resident Art Price Jr. and you were literally having sex with a picnic bench. Neighbors spotted the 40-year-old getting busy with the umbrella hole in his picnic table in his backyard, wide open for the whole street and possibly even a nearby school to see. Yikes! He was brought up on multiple charges and became reviled among his neighbors as a potential danger to his own children and theirs. Safe to say, he is off the invite list for any neighborhood cookouts, and you can take that to the bank. But these next two, you really shouldn't take to the bank. Number 8. Couple cash-in. A couple were spotted making some very hands-on deposits and withdrawals at an ATM near Santander Bank. Naturally, baffled onlookers whipped out their phones to capture the bizarre scene. We don't know who these people filmed banking and spanking are, but we hope that whatever they got out of this was worth the public humiliation and a cameo appearance on this sordid little episode. Welcome to the club. From amorous ATMs to bathroom escapades, our next couple took public displays of affection to a whole new low. Number 7. Doing the dirty. One couple in Clarksville, Tennessee, took the "kiss me I'm Irish" mentality a little too far when they were caught boning in the bathroom of O'Connor's Irish pub. But that wasn't enough. Apparently, they needed a toilet nearby to set the mood, so they took their passion to a nearby porta potty. Naturally, they were found again. The arrest warrant read, "Officers banged on the door several times before they opened it up. Both subjects' clothing was once again disheveled. It was clear they were attempting to fornicate again." And with steamy prose like that, we think the arresting officer could probably get a side gig writing paperback romance. If that made you feel a little claustrophobic, you might want to go somewhere in the open air, full of plenty of happy people, like a state fair. Number 6. Ready to rumble. Love, or something like it, was in the air at the 2017 iteration of the delightful Wisconsin State Fair. A part-time wrestler and his ex-wife decided to rekindle their romance and started making the beast with two backs on the bleachers. Staff and guests at the fair tried to desperately make them stop, but they just kept going. When people started filming, the horny wrestler, 28-year-old Robert Beasley, aka Bobby Valentino, and the gay bar superstar waved to the cameras like a true heel. Vince McMahon would be proud. Speaking of family-friendly places becoming seriously indecent, number 5. Happy Hour. 19-year-old Mississippi bride Amy Hammers managed to shatter her honeymoon phase in record time with a wildly ill-advised threesome. Just 2 weeks after tying the knot, she was caught getting frisky with a male and a female coworker right on the open deck of a family bar. The place was closed for the day, but when the owner popped in for a surprise visit, he got a nasty shock that was not on the menu. Officers from the Hancock County Sheriff's Department arrested the trio for performing indecent acts on private property without permission. While they were all released on a $1,000 bond, we doubt that it helped matters with Amy's marriage. But compared to our next couple, Amy and her two sexual partners were rank amateurs. Number 4. Taking couple goals to a whole new platform. Meet Rex and Elizabeth Jernigan, a couple who practically raised the criminal act of secret public sex to a kind of perverse art form. When this exhibitionist duo was arrested in 2017, they were found to have Pornhub accounts that featured over 160 videos of them having sex in public places and other people's private property. Nowhere was off limits: a public library, a Walmart, a Burger King, and many other locations. The couple had around 4,000 subscribers, and after being released on bail, Rex Jernigan gave the public statement, "To all my friends and followers, the wife and I just recently bailed out of jail for our public videos we posted on Pornhub. Hopefully soon we get to post a new video." Gotta respect the hustle at least. Less respectable were a couple who wanted a live audience in the Hunter Valley of Australia. Number 3. Going along for the ride. A frisky couple were arrested for walking onto a public bus and beginning to strip before performing lewd acts in front of the other unfortunate passengers. When they were asked to stop, things got messy. Literally. They became verbally abusive, shouting at the driver and spitting. They were kicked off the bus but didn't quit there. After being refused entry onto another, they channeled their passion-fueled frustration into trying to rip off the windshield wipers. Their impromptu joyride ended soon after, as the cops arrived to put the brakes on their wild antics. They didn't make much of an attempt to resist arrest. The same could not be said for the next couple. Number 2. Making waves on the pier. Florida woman Alyssa Razzo was caught having sex with her partner, Zadok Westfield, on a public pier in Naples. When the police were called, Westfield, who was completely naked, stayed at the scene and gave himself up to police. But Razzo resorted to the pro-gamer move of leaping into the water and swimming away. Unsurprisingly, her escape plan did not go as well as she hoped, and she was caught shortly after. Everyone up to this point has been caught in the act, usually by an innocent bystander or members of law enforcement. But sometimes the weight of having sex in a weird place, under weird circumstances, is just too much to keep on your conscience, and you feel the urge to confess your sins. Number 1. Just another day on Reddit. One Reddit user confessed to a particularly weird act of onanism while on a 3-hour drive to attend his ex-girlfriend's funeral. Having no idea why, he felt a sudden wave of sexual arousal during the drive, and so he set the car to cruise control. In extreme defiance of all laws of driving and human decency, he masturbated into one of his socks while driving before making the rest of his journey. Talk about a detour into disturbing territory. This gives you a clue as to how weird the territory we're entering now is. Another Reddit user, perhaps hoping to prove that honesty is not always the best policy, confessed to having sex with his girlfriend in a graveyard. That is a questionable choice already, but as if things couldn't get any stranger, he added that his friend watched the whole scene unfold while taking matters into his own hands. We're honestly pretty glad that's the only information we have on that. Which steamy spot takes the prize? Make the comments blush. Now check out what happens to your body if you never have sex, or watch this instead.